¿Qué tal? Buenos días, Rolando Herrera del periódico Reforma. Quisiera insistir en la pregunta que había formulado anteriormente mi compañero Gustavo Castillo, si el exgobernador Tomás Yarrington estaría dispuesto a comparecer ante un gran jurado en Estados Unidos para enfrentar estos cargos. Y preguntarle al abogado Marco Tulio, con esta diferencia que usted menciona de la fecha en la que le piden salir de Estados Unidos y ahora los cargos, si considera que pudiera haber algún tipo de presión del gobierno mexicano o si el gobierno, si hubiese alguna motivación política detrás de las acusaciones.
Well, we expect Governor Yarrington will not appear before any grand jury. The grand jury's made its decision to charge him with a crime. He was not asked to appear before the grand jury. The grand jury is a body of citizens in the United States that look at the government's information. The government, it's a one-sided process. All the government did was give the grand jury information to charge Governor Yarrington. Governor Yarrington was not given an opportunity to appear in the grand jury. He was not given any opportunity to present any evidence to the grand jury. Again, this is a one-sided prosecution by the United States government, and Governor Yarrington had no opportunity to defend himself in the grand jury, and the grand jury charged him. But it's like anybody else. If you're formally charged with something, you expect an opportunity to defend yourself. He was not given any opportunity to defend himself in the grand jury. We had no idea that the grand jury even met in February. We had no idea what information they were given. We were not asked to challenge any of that information. So that was just as much a surprise to us as it was to everybody else.
Abogado por acá. Arturo Ángel del periódico 24 Horas. Dos preguntas, tanto para el abogado Joel Androfi como para el licenciado Marco Tulio. Ya que nos indica que él no estaría de alguna forma obligado ni en la voluntad de presentarse ante un jurado, le agradecería que nos explique un poco cuál va a ser el procedimiento de la defensa en los Estados Unidos, debido a que pues, bueno, ya se reveló este expediente e incluso se reveló el comunicado del FBI hasta pedir literalmente información de dónde pudiera estar el exgobernador. En ese sentido, le agradecería que, para que nos quede claro aquí en México, nos explique cuál va a ser el procedimiento que se va a seguir. Y para el abogado Marco Tulio, que nos actualice un poco la situación de las propiedades del exgobernador, porque había por ahí varios amparos por bienes asegurados. Me gustaría que nos aclarara un poco qué bienes, si es que siguen asegurados o tenían decomisados, o no sé bajo qué modalidad la PGR, y si ya fueron devueltos. Gracias.
I have not seen evidence in this case. We have no knowledge who their witnesses are. We have no knowledge of what their documents show. So I'm not in a position at this point in time to respond to the type of case and how we would defend the type of case, because I don't know what the evidence is. And it's important for us to see the evidence first. Again, all we've seen is accusations and written statements by the prosecutor as to what the charges are. We haven't seen any statements of witnesses. We haven't seen any documents from witnesses. So at this point in time, I cannot respond to you how we would defend the case, except to say that we would defend it very vigorously, ultimately, and I expect to prevail. I expect Governor Yarrington to be acquitted of all the charges because he's done nothing wrong. And the people that have been testifying against him are not telling the truth. The accusations against him are false, and there's no support for the accusations. What we have is a bunch of individuals that are going to want to testify against him to protect themselves, individuals who perhaps themselves have been charged with crimes or threatened to be charged with crimes and have cut arrangements and deals with the federal government so that they don't get charged. So basically, you have plea bargaining going on where a witness, in return for saying things that are false against Governor Yarrington, is not going to be charged himself for his own crimes. And that's how the government system works in the United States in terms of negotiating and bargaining with people. You bargain with people, and you bargain for their false testimony, and that's what the government here did. They bargained for false testimony, and that's what ultimately is going to come out before a jury.
Mr. Andrefi, Olga Rodriguez with the Associated Press. I'm here. My first question is, what are the motives of the U.S. government to go after Mr. Yarrington with baseless charges? And also, what drug cartel is the U.S. alleging Mr. Yarrington was working forward with?
I didn't listen. Give me the last question, please.
The last question is, what drug cartel is the U.S. alleging Mr. Yarrington worked with or for?
I was trying to listen to this at the same time while you were speaking English.
What are the motives?
Well, the United States charges people all the time that are innocent. And again, it's up to the prosecutors to decide who they're going to charge and why they're going to charge somebody. I can't speak to their motivations for this, except that prosecutors take in information to the grand jury all the time that is based on false accusations, because they have to deal with people and they have to bargain for their testimony. And in this case, they bargain for false testimony, which happens a lot in the United States. And it's ultimately up for a jury to decide whether these people are lying or telling the truth. It's not up to the government. The government believes its witnesses. And if the witnesses are lying, it's not for the government to decide. It's up to a jury to decide. And that's how the U.S. system works, as you know. And your second question again, please?
So, what's the drug cartel that the U.S. alleges he was working with?
It's whatever's in the indictment.
You haven't seen the indictment?
I just saw it the other day.
What does it say? What does it say?
Whatever organization the government claims is mentioned in the indictment, they just talk about a cartel.
They don't specify one? They don't give a name?
No.
En relación a la pregunta que hizo sobre la situación de los bienes del licenciado Yarrington, quiero informar que él únicamente solicitó el levantamiento del aseguramiento de su casa de Matamoros. Se hizo a través de un amparo y ese amparo ha sido concedido y tenemos noticias de que ha sido recurrido por parte de la Procuraduría General de la República. Fuera de esos bienes, no existen otros que sean propiedad del licenciado y que se encuentren asegurados. Sí, se concedió el amparo y la Procuraduría interpuso el recurso de revisión. Eso es el día de ayer, joven. Sí, está asegurada. Un juez ha concedido el amparo para que se deje sin efectos el aseguramiento y la Procuraduría ha interpuesto el recurso de revisión porque se ha conformado con la resolución de ese juez. Vamos a esperar la resolución de ese recurso para poder saber en qué situación jurídica queda el inmueble.
Buenas tardes. Juan Omar Fierro de Noticias MBS. Preguntarle al abogado en Estados Unidos cuánto tiempo lleva el procedimiento, cuánto tiempo podría llevar el procedimiento del exgobernador Tomás Yarrington, y también preguntarle no tanto la estrategia de la defensa, que obvio no nos las puede decir, sino más bien los pasos. ¿Qué sigue judicialmente? Lo digo porque los sistemas de justicia son distintos. A partir de que ustedes conocen la acusación, ¿qué es lo que sigue? Y en todo caso, ¿hasta qué momento se decide si comparece o no ante un gran jurado el exgobernador Tomás Yarrington?
Well, the systems are different, but there's one common connection between both of them. Both of the accusations, the charges, the warrants in Mexico, and as well as the charges in the United States are based on false testimony. That's what they have in common. But in terms of the U.S. system, it takes years for a matter to go through the U.S. system of justice, many, many years. And this matter has been delayed by the federal government. Governor Yarrington was, as I said, was in the United States earlier to defend any charges, but removed by the government and denied reentry into the United States. So these charges, if they were brought earlier, could have been defended earlier and resolved earlier. So the timing is based upon when the government wants to pursue things, not when we want to do it. And with regard to strategy, again, as I said earlier, our strategy will be based on the witnesses we see and the documents we review. And until that happens, I can't comment further, except to say that we will impeach the government witnesses and prove that they're lying.
Excuse me. Here. My name is Manuel Gonzalez from Basta. And my question is, you have noticed that when somebody is in San Antonio, Texas, I think is already in jail, is arguing against Thomas Yarrington and Fernando Cano, the witness?
I'm not aware of what witness you're talking about in San Antonio.
Thank you very much.